talking to you as friends, as peers, as fellow business associates. I'm going to share some of my own experiences in business. I own a supermarket called Kosher West. I'm in the supermarket business already since 1992, so it's been a while. I've experienced a lot of different things. I've gone through good times, crises, and everything in between. A lot of bumps in the road, a lot of learning experience. You know, what makes somebody wise, I never went to any business school, and I didn't write any books on business. And what makes me qualified to speak about this, and it's because I'm street smart, I have experience. I also speak to people. I'm not scared to ask somebody, discuss my business with somebody else and say, what do you think? What's going wrong here? How come this is wrong? And I've done that over the years. I've reached out to friends, I've reached out to business associates and say, something doesn't make sense, maybe you could help me. And I encourage everyone, get yourself a good friend, get yourself someone you can talk to, discuss your business. If there's a problem, many people are willing and able to help you. So Ezel Chacham, who's the wise person, Aloy mit Mikol Adam. And I encourage everyone to learn from other people. And as they say, it's not a chazal. I looked it up, I searched it. It's not a chazal, but it says Ein Chacham Kabal Anisoyan. Someone with experience is wise. I guess it's just practical advice that someone who's gone through life and gone through different situations and learns from them wisens up. So tonight's title is Profitability, maintaining profitability in a time of rising costs. So let's talk about profitability in general. So to maintain profitability, you have to be profitable. We have different types of businesses here, from service-oriented businesses to retail and some wholesale businesses. So each one has its unique facets, each one has its unique way of doing business, and obviously we're not going to be able to address each one singly. If someone wants to, I'm willing to sit down with them at a later time. They can reach out to me, get my email address. I'll make time to talk to you, and perhaps we can talk and I can help somebody. And if I can help even one person, the whole thing was worth it. Profits doesn't mean buying something at $1 and selling it at $2. It sounds like that's profits, and that's very rudimentary. But profits is buying something for $1, having a customer who's ready to buy it from you, so you're going to sell it to that customer. You have an avenue of getting it to the customer, which is your business. That $2 has to pay for that $1 that you paid for it. The $2 has to pay for all your expenses that you incur before you sell it to the customer. And then after you sell it to the customer and he pays you the $2, you still have to have money left over. So after paying for the product, after paying for all your expenses, at that point, if you still have money left over, you're profitable. Just because you have money in the bank and just because you could show sales does not mean you're profitable. So I'm going to tell you a story. The Satmar Rav, everyone, Rabbi Yoel Teitelbaum, once approached one of his wealthy Hasidim, and he asked him if he could hire somebody. He said he has an excellent bookkeeper, another Chassid, and he recently lost his job, and he thinks it'd be beneficial for this wealthy Chassid's business. And the Chassid responded to, he said, Rebbe, I'll do whatever you say. However, I just want the Rebbe to know one thing. He says, Ich weiß, I'll translate it for whoever doesn't speak Yiddish. Ich weiß, ich mach Geld. I know I'm making money. I don't know if expenses, profits, I don't know. The money's coming in and I have money. He says, this guy is a bookkeeper. He's going to start doing my books, make cheshbon. He says, you show me that I'm losing money. I don't need a guy to show me that I'm losing money. So the Rebbe said, yeah, I hear you loud and clear, and Taka didn't force him to do that. However, in real life, that's the Rebbe Shemaisa. In real life, we need to have books. We need to know what's coming in, what's going out, and we need to have a cheshbon of all of our expenses. If not, it's very easy to find yourself one day with not being able to pay your bills, and you don't know why. So first of all, I don't know what type of software you use, but QuickBooks is a very popular software for businesses. It works great, but many people don't utilize it properly. They just utilize it as a check writing program. They enter their deposits, they enter their checks, it helps them print nice printed checks, they enter their bills, but they're not categorizing properly, they're not entering information properly, and if they want to pull up a P&L, which is a profit and loss report, they won't make any sense of it. You have to be able to look at your business at any time and say, am I making money, am I losing money? You have to be able to do month-to-month comparisons. You have to be able to do year-to-year comparisons. You have to be able to use those books that you have, be able to walk into a bank and say, hi, this is a picture of a snapshot of my business. And without that, you're doomed for failure. You might be lucky, and it might be working, but it's very, very easy to lose track of yourself, and it's very easy to go down a slippery slope, and it's very easy to go to a point where it's beyond recovery. Now, not every business makes money, and not every business is destined to make money. There are some times where business is just the different factors involved don't put it out for not for failing. Some businesses fail. Not every business is going to make money. But a lot of businesses, if they're run properly and books are kept properly and pricing is kept properly and expenses are kept under control, you will be profitable. And a lot of businesses could be helped by just doing small things. I'm not going to tell you any rocket science, because it's not rocket science. It's just being organized and being responsible and honest with yourself. I just jotted down stuff over here, so if you'll excuse me for a second. Remember, to be profitable and to be successful in a business, you have to make money. We're not dealing here with stock organizations. Stock organizations are structured where they don't make money, and they raise money from outside sources. Their customers are people who are getting money or products for free or for reduced prices, and the businesses, the tzedakah, have to raise money from outside sources, whether it's raise-its or Chinese auctions, dinners, mailings, etc. For any business that's a for-profit business, that means we make money, we have to be, first of all, we have to be ready. We're not shy. We're here to make money. If you're hesitant about making money, or you're not comfortable about it because you don't want to tell your customers, I'm not really making money, I'm just doing, it doesn't work. You're here to make money, and say it proudly. To make money, you have to charge for it. And a relationship between a customer and a seller or a vendor is not a relationship where you're doing the customer a favor. And the customer's not doing you a favor. It's a mutual relationship. You're providing a service for the customer, you're providing a product for the customer, and the customer, in turn, is getting something from you. He's not donating something to you. You don't have to feel indebted to the customer in a way where you're uncomfortable. That customer is getting something from you, and you're getting something from him. So it's a mutual arrangement. And you have to have that attitude. You're allowed to make money. You're supposed to make money. You're not going to be in business, and the customer won't have his product if you're going to go out of business. So be ready. You have to make money. I don't know if any of you ever heard of Senator Dirksen. Senator Dirksen was a U.S. senator, and he died in 1969. Senator Dirksen, I don't know what he did. Okay, he's not famous for any major things, but he's famous for one saying that's attributed to him. And he said, a few billion here and a few billion there, and before you know it, you're talking about serious money. And in every business, it works that way, whether it's $1 here or $1 there, or even a penny here, a penny there. I'm just going to use one example. I'm in the food business. Let's say I sell 1,000 bottles of milk a day. We're located in Westgate. It's a reasonable number. If that bottle of milk goes up by 1 penny, and I don't go up along with it, in 1 year, that penny is going to add up to $3,200. So now, in 1 penny, 1 product, okay, I just gave away $3,200 out of my pocket. If that bottle of milk went up 10 cents, it's now 10 times that penny, $32,000. 1 product, $32,000. Which means you have to stay on top of your prices. A lot of people don't check every bill, they don't check the invoices. They used to they checked it once, a certain price, they entered it into their point of sale system or however they do their pricing, and they don't check it on a regular basis. It's important to check every bill, every time, on every product. Check your costs, they creep up quietly. Not every vendor will tell you the price is going up. Sometimes they did tell you that the email didn't come in, it went to your spam box, they sent it, they didn't send it, and before you know it, you're paying your bill, and you say, hey, when did this go up? All of a sudden, I'm not making the margins I'm supposed to be making, or I'm making some money, or sometimes even losing money, and we found that. We actually hired somebody, a full-time person, who goes through every single bill and checks it checks it and compares it to the bills that we had before to see, did those prices go up? And believe me, on a weekly basis, she finds prices that went up and slipped through us. And we adjust our prices accordingly. You have to adjust those prices. Don't be scared to go up. If your price went up, you have to go up, and your customers will have to pay that difference. It's really kedai. It's a good investment to hire somebody to check the prices. Now, besides checking your costs, you also have to make sure that you're selling the product for the proper margin for your type of business. Every business has different types of margins, but you have to make those margins. If you're not going to make those margins, you're going to fail, whether it's in a few months or a few years. Yeah, when you're bleeding, it's not going to stop until you stop it. And once you stop it, you have to replenish it. So those margins must happen. You must charge accordingly. Know what your competition is doing. Compare your pricing to your other competition. You might have to adjust accordingly, okay? But then you have to make it up with a different product. Again, those margins must be maintained. There's no compromise on the margins. And if you have to compromise, then you got to make adjustments either by cutting expenses or creating additional revenue, bringing in other products. But you can't. People rest on their laurels. They're used to doing things a certain way. They become complacent. This is the way I run my business. It's been the same for the last 3 years. Everything's good. I'm making money. Shalom al Yisrael. But things change. Prices go up. Expenses go up, competition. If you're not proactive, if you're not on top of your situation, before you know it, you're going to have trouble paying your bills. And when those red flags come up and you have trouble paying your bills, you're being reactive. Now you're already injured, and now you're trying to salve yourself to try to survive. I'm a paramedic. I see that. Okay, if you're proactive with the patient and you get them before they go into that critical mode, you can save them. Once they're critical, they have a much less chance of being saved, and you don't want to get to that critical moment. What's our biggest expense in any business? Anyone? Payroll. Payroll is very expensive, and payroll keeps on going up. Whoever's hired people in the last few years knows the costs have gone up. Now, your margin, your sales might not go up in accordance with your payroll. So how are you making that up? You have to make that up. Again, you have no choice. The margins must stay. There's no negotiations on that. So it's either cut your expenses, and that's the first place to look. Look at your payroll. Are you paying too much? Do you have too many people? Sometimes you have to fire people, and it's very hard because you have relationships with them, and you feel bad. But sometimes you have to. You have to take care of yourself first, and you have to remember that. And even if it means Sometimes cutting hours, you could try to compromise, but at the end of the day, if you don't, if you don't, you're not going to survive, and these people won't have a job either. So cut those expenses. Try to bring in new revenue. Could you? Is there, just because you're limited to a certain thing, or you carry a certain item, doesn't mean you can't expand your business. If you're in the tire business, right? Doesn't mean you have to be limited to tires. No, change windshield wipers, do oil changes. Maybe there's other things. You could sell cell phone cords and chargers in your place. Do other things that are going to increase your revenue. And you're not limited. I'm a grocery. I only sell groceries. Maybe not. Maybe you could sell other things in the grocery that'll increase your revenue. It's all about money. It's all about the Benjamins. We got to make money. We're here to make money. We're not a nonprofit. We are for profit. So being proactive is, first of all, it's very important. Read up on trends in the industry. Almost every industry has some kind of magazines, things you could subscribe to. Know what's going on in the industry. Know what's coming up. Know what's coming down. There are so many people who, by not being proactive and not keeping on top of trends, lost their businesses. I'll give you a big example. Eastman Kodak. Everyone remembers film and cameras, right? Eastman Kodak. They were in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. They were one of the Dow stocks. They were a huge company, multi-billion-dollar company, making money, making head over heels. Film. Everyone had cameras with film. Then digital started coming out, and for some reason, huge company. You think they know everything. Huge company, and they missed the boat. They missed the boat. They didn't realize where digital's going. They didn't watch it properly. I would imagine there was a lot of pride and what we call gaiva involved. We know the business. These guys are going to come in with a new film. And look where they are today. They're a struggling company. They still exist, but a struggling company. Why? Because they weren't on top of the trends. I know a guy who was one of the biggest payphones. Remember the payphones? Most of us remember payphones. He was one of the biggest payphone suppliers in the country. And he stocked up on payphones, and he was selling. And one day, cell phones came out, and he wasn't monitoring the situation. He wasn't seeing how fast the cell phone industry is growing, and he kept on stocking up on phones because people are always going to need payphones. But they didn't. They didn't need payphones. And slowly, he got stuck with millions of dollars of payphones with no customers. And I have a friend who was in the lock business. And it used to be that you had to dial, if you ever dialed with a payphone, or with any rotary phone, you have to dial like 0 and 1s and to get dial long distance. So they didn't want those days. That was one of the few things, by the way, that did go down in price is phone service. But those days, like if you called Eretz Yisrael, it was like $10 a minute in those days. So to imagine, those days $10 was a lot more than it is today. So he stocked up on somebody came out with a lock that didn't allow the rotary, the whatever it is, the dial, to go past a certain point, which disallowed anyone to make long distance calls. So it was a great thing. Every business bought them because they didn't want their employees to make long-distance calls. Well, what happened one day? Rotary went out. This guy was stuck with thousands of cases of those locks. He held on to them because he thought that maybe one day it's going to come to use. And finally, he got to the point where he realized it's over. He threw them out. He did write them off, so he got at least a little bit of a tax loss that he took. But again, it's by not being proactive. Almost every industry has trade shows. It's kedai to go to those trade shows. It's very worthwhile. I've gone to different trade shows in the food industry. I've always walked out with the gain, whether it's a new contact, whether it's a new idea, whether it's a new product, whether it's something that we didn't have before, an availability for me to buy cheaper. That's another way of keeping margins. If a price goes up, but you could buy better, then you're keeping your margins that way. And by the way, if you buy a good deal on something, doesn't mean that you have to pass that deal on to your customers. You're allowed to keep the profits for yourself. You're allowed to make more money. Sometimes you do have to pass it on, but don't pass on savings unless you gain something from it. If you're going to put an item on sale, of course, then you're gaining something because you're attracting customers. But if not, don't feel guilty if you're keeping the profits for yourself. Keep those profits, make money. It's very, very, very important. Be on top of your business. People, when they're doing well, they become complacent. The business is doing well. I have managers, I have employees, they're doing their jobs. We're making money, money's in the bank, it's great, okay? But if the boss is never there, and the boss is not on top of it, and they don't know about it, that there's a boss, employees start, again, they start slacking off. They're not running, it's not their business, they're doing a job. They have a job, they get paid, and that's it. And they could start running your business down. And people sometimes realize when it's too late. Employees sometimes steal, which is another thing you have to be on top of. Be on top of your inventory of employees stealing, whether it's from a cash register, whether it's from fraudulent bank transactions. And in general, be on top of your banks. There's a lot of fraud going on, a lot of fake checks that are being written. Check your bank accounts every day. Check your credit card statements every day at your business. Okay, check your registers. Make sure that the dollar amount that your POS is showing matches what you end up with at the end of the day. We recently had somebody. We realized there was a trend where we were missing money every day. We went to our video cameras, which are also very useful and also very recommended. And we saw this guy was every day he was going into one of the registers, putting some cash into a garbage bag that's in front of the register. And at the end of the day, he would walk out. Luckily, we had cameras. We saw it. We provided the cameras, to the video footage to the police department, and they arrested this guy. And because I had all this footage, he ended up getting a job somewhere else, and to avoid jail, he paid back every penny. It took him a few months, but he paid back every penny, and I wrote him a letter. I wrote a letter to the judge saying that he repented, and he paid everything back, and so on. So again, be on top of your employees. Be vigilant. Be vigilant. Don't be complacent. It's very easy to do that. I can't say, I'm saying it over a few times because I learned the hard way from not being on top of a business that how things could fall. I once heard a story where there was a certain individual who had a very successful business, and he got older, and he decided it's time to retire. So he called his children in. He said, guys, I want to retire. I want to give the business over to you. But you have to do everything that I did, and if you do everything the way I did it, you'll be successful. They said, we're in. He retired. The kids started running the business. 6 months down the road, we need a meeting. He meets with his children. He says, what's going on? He says, business is not going like it used to. And he said, what's going on? He says, are you doing everything that I told you to do, and you copying everything I said? And they said, yeah, we are. He says, you remember I used to walk around the whole day and just knocking on the walls and knocking on everyone's desk and walking around. They said, yeah, of course we remember. He said, are you doing that? And they said, no. He says, why not? He says, we have no idea why you were doing that. We thought it was like a little mishigas that you had, that you just knocked on everything. And he says, you don't understand. When I walked around knocking on everything, it let the employees know that there's a boss over here. It reminded them. They saw me. They heard me. There's a boss. It's important that in your business, you have to know, that everyone has to know there's a boss. And you have to be on top of your employees. Okay, so the title of tonight's lecture was Maintaining Profitability and Rising Costs. So till now, we spoke about profitability. That we have to be profitable. So if costs rise, you must react to it. Don't just say, there's nothing I can do about it. You have to react, okay? You have to either raise prices to keep your margins, increase business, which you should always do, even if prices don't rise. You should always look for opportunity to increase business. But especially when prices rise, if you don't want to raise your prices, you have to increase business. Bring in other products, bring in other services. Okay? And last but not least, you might have to cut expenses. And you have to look at all your expenses, going back to that QuickBooks thing. Okay? When you have a proper QuickBooks, you can look at a snapshot at any time and be able to see where your expenses are, what things might be able to be cut, what your biggest expenses are, compare it to other months. It's invaluable. I mean, I used to not do it. I used to use QuickBooks as a check writing program. For the last 10 years, I've been using it properly. It's a game changer. It really is a game changer. Those reports, they enlighten you. You can't imagine. Many businesses have what's called a hidden bank account, and that hidden bank account is a cause of a lot of business problems. And that bank account is called inventory. Inventory is, like Chassidish Yid once told me, the gres the ganev. It's the biggest thief. People have inventory. People buy stuff. They stock up. They got a good deal on something. They stock up on that item. Okay, you got a good deal, so it makes sense, right? Stock up. But if that item is going to take you 2 years to sell, was it really worth it? Now you don't have cash flow. Now you have to borrow money to pay current bills because you have a stock of something. People take out storage containers and storage units, warehouses, because they get good deals, and then they end up sitting with it. Stuff gets ruined. Stuff gets spoiled if you're dealing with perishables. Things get stolen. Inventory is a good thing sometimes, and you have to have a certain amount of inventory, and sometimes you do stock up because you have a good deal. But you be very, very careful. You'll talk to any business owner, especially retailers, wholesalers as well. If you have product, if you're a service business, you don't have inventory. But if you have product, that inventory could kill you. You know, inventory is like Costco. Costco gets you to buy things in bulk, and because you're getting a good deal. And how many times do people throw out stuff or don't end up using it, but they spent that money at Costco? And inventory is something. It's a great place to start if you see that things are tight, or in general, cut that inventory. The inventory is really too much. Now, if you do feel that your business is in trouble and you see that you're having a hard time paying bills, what do? Option one, get a business consultant. Now, business consultants, first of all, make sure that the business consultant is somebody who has experience in your business. Just because a guy is a business consultant and he has a title and he wrote books on business doesn't mean he knows your business. You need somebody who really understands your business if you're going to hire them. They're not cheap. They're expensive. I hired a business consultant many years ago. The first thing, he sat down, he threw his book on my table. He says, "This is a book I wrote, you see? I'm a business consultant." I said, "Yeah, very impressive. You wrote a book," and yeah. And, I was paying him a few $100s an hour, and, I'm paying him, and there's no results. He's telling me this, telling me that. He was totally off. I mean, going back, I'm looking back, like he was really no shaykhs, as they say in Lakewood. And so business consultants, you have to be very careful. Okay. Second option is to get a good friend who's in business, and someone who's going to be honest with you, somebody you're comfortable listening to, and somebody who's not biased. And somebody will say it the way it is, and I've done that as well. Many years ago, I was going through a time in business where there was a lot of competition, and things were tight, and I knew I had a good business. I knew I had customers, but something was wrong. And I drove to New York. I met with this guy over lunch, and I said, just, I'm having trouble. I'm comfortable. You're a successful guy. Come to me and help me figure things out. He says, "Okay, let me think about it." The next morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, I walk into my store, and he's there. He drove in from New York. He says, "I'm here. I'm here to help you now." He says, open your office, open your books, let me see your payroll, let me see what's going on. And he spent the next few months, he was there at least once a week. He went through and he identified stuff for me. And I had to swallow my pride, because every person who has a business, you're proud of it. You're doing well. You have a good business. This guy's going to tell me how to run my business. Everyone knows how to run everyone else's business. But sometimes you have to listen to your friends. I would advise to start with a good friend who will be honest with you and who is successful. They'll be very helpful, and it's a lot cheaper than getting a business consultant. No matter what you do, we're going to be there. Well, of course. That's last but not least. Okay, there's a few things when you cut expenses. There's two things don't cut. Don't cut insurance. Every insurance that you need, whether it's workman's comp or liability, don't cut it, because you know what happens. As soon as you cut that insurance, you're going to need it. It's not kedai to cut insurance, and certain insurances that are mandatory, like workman's comp, you should shop around your insurance every year, but don't cut it. And the next thing you don't cut is taxes. Pay your taxes. Don't not pay your taxes. People are very tempted, because taxes are a big bill, whether you collect sales tax or payroll taxes. There's a lot of money in it, and you defer it. I'm going to recover, and we're going to recover and then pay it back. There's somebody, I'm sure you read about, there's somebody who just went to jail because he owed the government, a local guy, $10 million in payroll taxes that he didn't pay. Taxes are not worth it. It's not geschmack. When they show up at your place, it's bad news. Don't do it. And also, another thing is, one thing that the government is very makbid on is overtime. If you have employees and they work overtime, make sure you pay them that overtime, because they're going to get back after you, no matter what the legal status of that employee is. Even if the employee is illegal and you're paying off the books, the Department of Lakewood still requires you to pay overtime. And they don't talk to the IRS, and they don't talk to other things. So you're going to end up paying for it. You're going to end up paying fines, interest, penalties, lawyer fees. It's not worth it. Those are the things you don't cut. Everything else you can look at and consider cutting. And then, like we mentioned before with Mr. Lowinger, just step that. Okay, there are resources. There are resources to help businesses. LCSC is a local resource center. They provide consulting to businesses. They help with business loans, business grants. There's actually money available. That anyone who joins the UEZ, for example, could get a $5,000 technology grant. That technology grant is free. You join, you apply, you get the $5,000. That technology grant could be used for computers, for updating internet, etc. Then there's low-interest loans. Interest rates are very high today. You go to a bank, you pay a lot. There's low-interest loans that the government subsidizes. That's what the LDC does, the Lakewood Development Corporation, and the LCSC, which is in contract with us. We help businesses. We've helped hundreds, maybe even more, maybe over 1,000 businesses over the years. When the Hurricane Sandy, we gave out interest-free loans to be paid back over 10 years. $1.2 million was given out to local businesses, $10,000 loans to help people weather the storm, no pun intended. There's so many resources available, and you should avail yourself. I do highly recommend. I'm not getting paid for tonight, and I don't get any commission on anything that I'm saying now. But if you join the Lakewood Development Corporation, the UEZ, David Klein is here right now, and where's Moshe? Moshe Bender is our new resource officer. He'll help you get registered. It costs nothing to get registered. There's so many advantages from buying everything tax-free. Most organizations, charitable organizations, could buy products tax-free. They don't have to pay taxes when they buy equipment. They don't have to pay taxes when they buy supplies for their businesses. You could buy everything tax-free. Can you imagine? You're buying a piece of equipment for $10,000, tax-free, just by joining the UEZ. So that's something that's very advantageous. So let me just do Rabbi Pesach Krohn style. Let me summarize. Okay, profits means sales minus cost of goods minus expenses. After that, if you're still left with money, you're profitable. Customers and vendors have mutual benefits. The customer gains from you, you gain from the customer. Keep that pride. If a customer doesn't allow you to make money, he's not there for you. He's not your customer. You're allowed to drop a customer. We've told customers, even in the supermarket business, thank you, but no thank you. Not every customer is a good customer. Remember, you're here to make money. If you don't, you're not going to survive. You're here to make money. Make sure you keep a good set of books. Either hire a bookkeeper full-time, part-time. There are people who work remotely. Some people could do it themselves. Make sure you have a good set of books and know what's going on in your business at all times. Remember, every penny adds up. Hire someone or designate someone to check pricing and markups. It's worth every penny. They pay themselves off because you're going to make that money back by charging properly and not losing money. Don't be complacent in your business, okay? There's always things changing. Be on top of your business, be proactive, go to shows, read up on material, see what your competition is doing. Make sure your employees are working efficiently. If prices go up, you have to make it up. Remember that. Either raise the prices, cut expenses, or bring in new revenue. Make sure you're on top of your inventory. Remember that Ganav, the hidden Ganav. Don't be tempted by good deals. Good deals sometimes could be good, and sometimes they're not good. Think it through before you jump. If you do get into trouble, hire either a business consultant or a good friend. I recommend a good friend. Talk to somebody, see where you're going wrong and where you could be helped. Be confident about what you're doing. Don't touch taxes, don't touch insurance, and don't touch overtime pay. Thank you. If anyone has any questions on what I said today, what I talked about today in general, please ask. If you have specific questions about your specific business, I'm offering to meet with you on a personal basis. You can reach out to, I'll give you my email address. I'll make the time to sit with you and to try to help you on a specific basis. Again, I have a lot of experience. I never went to business school, my father did, but I have a lot of experience and I've weathered a lot of different storms and I learned a lot of things over the 33 years that I'm in business. And I'm not going to charge. I'm not a business consultant. I'm a friend. We're all friends over here.
One of the services that the LCSC does provide is we do business mentoring consulting, and unlike other business consultants, you walk in, you like what you hear, good. If not, you walk out the door, you say this guy loaned you, doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. We don't charge, so you only stand to gain. So now you have an additional resource. AM is great if you can fit into the schedule. If not, feel free to reach out to us. Thanks again for coming. And any questions about the UEZ, you can direct it to David. Anything about the LCSC, to myself or Chaim. It is a pleasure to serve you. Until next time.